Hey, hi, good afternoon. Okay, so I think the last topic was I gave you an assignment. I hope you guys are done. And if not, we can start with the assignment. You can paste answers one by one. But uh, before starting, let's wait for 2 more minutes. So, have you guys used any coding platform like LeetCode or GSG or maybe Coding Ninja? Any platform you have used? No problem. So actually, in assignment, there is one question where you have to print a pattern, and in order to print that pattern, you need to have the logic. I mean, it is obviously we are using loop, but for that, you should have uh, a logic building should be there. So I just wanted to understand if you are an active coder or not. Okay, no problem. We can start from the first question. Let me share my screen. Okay. So let's start with the first question. What I'm expecting from you guys is to write your answer or like paste your answer in the chat, and please try not to use any like chat GPT or any AI. Try to write the logic or code by yourself so that it will be better for you to uh, it will it will help you to build the logic and make you aware of the basic syntax of coding languages. So here in this case we are using Python, so just write the code in the Python and paste the solution in the chat, and we can discuss one by one. So your first question is print the multiplication table of any number entered by the user, 1 to 10, like it could be maybe more than 10 also. So you can just print a number. Okay, you have to take a number as an input from the user, and then you have to print the table of that number, like if in case of 2, 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3. So whatever is the value in this table, you have to print it. And obviously you don't have to write the print statement, you just have to use a loop. And obviously there is a logic, like if you're taking a loop from in case of table, what happens, you start from first index and then go till 10th index, right? And multiply with everyone, like 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3. So try to take the loop in such a way that you can print the table of number that you are taking as an input from the user. Okay, so write the code. Okay, let's move to the second question, which is use a while loop. Okay, before moving to the second question, do one thing. Instead of using this for loop, try to use while loop and print this table of any number. Okay, take the number as an input from user and try to print the table. But instead of using for loop, try to use while loop. Yes, Kavya. So, I mean, the same question, the first question, but here, in case instead of using for loop, you have to use while loop. Okay. I mean, I want the answer of this first question, which is print the multiplication table of any number entered by the user. Instead of using for loop, you have to use while loop. So, Arnav has pasted A as an input. Okay, he has assigned a value into a variable I, and while I is less than 11. Okay, print A into I. Okay, and incrementing the value of I. Okay, yes, Arnav, this is the correct approach. Print the answer, I mean output also. Run this in your IDE and print the output as well. Okay. Guys, I hope the question is clear. You have to write the solution for the same question, but here instead of using for loop, you are supposed to use for while loop. Okay, guys, start pasting your answer. Only Arnav has given his answer. Pari, Kavya, Aditya, Anvesha, Priyanshi. Start writing your code. I mean, irrespective whether it is correct or not, just write whatever you think is the solution. Okay, I'll give you the little hint also. Here you are using while loop, so you can take a variable and you can start the value. I mean, you can assign one to this variable, and until a is less than or equal to 10, or maybe it is less than 11, you have to print. Divyansh, why you are printing a into 1? You are taking the number and then printing it 1. Your solution is not correct. Okay, so what you can do, you can first, you have to take an input from the user, take an input from the user, take a variable, okay, assign a value as 1 into this variable, and then start your while loop, and your loop will run until this variable is less than 11. Okay, what you have to do, whatever variable or input you have taken from the user, that you will multiply with this variable, maybe I variable, and then you have to increment the value of this is variable, okay, by 1. So in this way, you will be able to print the table of any number. Can you please show question on second screen, please? Okay, sure. So this is the first question, but just one change here. Instead of using for loop, you are supposed to use while loop. Okay. So instead of for loop, you use while loop. Divyansh, you can try again. It's not very complicated. Yes. Okay. I. Okay. So, Divyansh, what you are doing, you are printing simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of that, you have to print the table of a number. Okay. So, just add two things. First is take an input from the user and catch this input inside a variable. It could be n, okay, inside a variable, and that variable you have to multiply with this I. Okay, so inside this print statement, just do one thing: n, whatever variable you have taken as an input from the user, just use that variable into I. Okay. Okay, I think, guys, I mean, is this question clear to you? Because I mean, very few people have pasted their answer. So if you have any doubt in this question, you can ask. Else, I'll start answering. I'll start taking names and ask the logic. Pari, would you like to explain the logic? Charvi, any of you? Okay. Charvi, would you like to explain the logic? Hmm. Charvi, are you there? So Kavya has pasted an answer. Kavya, could you please explain the logic?
Yes, ma'am. So instead of for loop, we use while loop here. First, we took
Mm-hmm.
an input from the user, then we took I as one, then we use
Okay.
the while loop as I is equals to larger than or equal to 10, so that
Mm-hmm.
we print the number into I, that is output the whole notification table.
Okay. And inside this while loop, you're incrementing this value of I by one. Okay, correct. Okay, let's move to the next question, which is use a while loop and keep asking for a password until the user types Python 123. Okay, and whenever the user will type Python 123, print access granted. Okay, so you have to run this while loop, and this while loop will keep on asking the user, okay, for the password. And once the user has given the correct password, it will print as access granted, and this while loop will be terminated. Okay, so write the logic for this. I will just give you a hint. So what you can do, you can have maybe a starting variable. You can keep anything inside that variable, and then in this while loop, you can check whether the value inside this variable is similar to the password or not. If not, then inside this loop, you can keep asking the user. You can keep taking the input from the user and catch into this variable, and once the value is what we are expecting, you can simply print this access granted and you can terminate this while loop. Okay, or maybe you can keep the while loop true until the value is Python 123, until it is not this. I hope the question is clear. If you have any doubt in the question, you can ask. And at the end you have to print it as access granted, okay, once the user has entered the correct password. Okay, before writing, let's discuss how you are going to approach this question. Okay, so let's start with Arno. Since um, Arno, could you explain your logic, I mean how you are going to approach this question?
Ma'am, first we can write while true to keep the loop going forever.
Okay.
And then after that, we write password equal to input, enter the password to ask for the password from the user.
Okay.
And then if we say if password is equal to Python 123, then print access granted and then break the loop.
Okay, yeah, correct.
Otherwise, let it.
Correct. So guys, as Arnav has explained his approach, you can write the code now and start pasting your answer in the chat. I hope logic is clear to everyone. If still any of you have like any doubt, you can ask. Okay, let's take 1 or 2 minutes, and in 2 minutes write your code and start pasting your answer. Divyansh. Okay, so in the first line, you are taking an input. Okay, Why, like in the second line, you're assigning this value? Just remove this second line. You are not supposed to assign any value. You are taking the input only from the user. Okay. So just remove this second line, and then in the third line, what you're doing, you're checking whether I is equal to Python 123 or not. Keep this inside this okay quotation, and then inside this while loop, you are printing irrespective of. I mean, okay. So, Divyansh, I think most of the code is incorrect. So, let's just understand what is happening. In this while loop, you are checking whether the value of I is equal to Python or not. Okay. Then what you're doing in the next line, since if it is not correct, only then it will enter inside this loop, right? So what you will do again, since it is not correct, again you will take an input from the user. Okay. So, and in this input, you will do, you will again, user will give an input, and you will check whether it is equal to Python 123 or not. Okay. As Arnav, in Arnav's logic, what was happening? While loop was by default, it was true, and that is why we needed to check it. Like after taking an input from the user, he was checking that whether it is equal to Python 123 or not. If it is equal to it equal to Python 123, then he was breaking the loop. Okay. So, but in your case, what you are doing in the while, I mean, this condition only, you are checking whether it is equal to Python or not. So it means this loop will run until this is not equal to Python 123. Okay, so you don't need to write the break statement. You can simply take an input, like inside this while loop, you can take an input from the user. And if that input is equal to Python, I mean, this Python 123, it will by default, it will come out of this loop. Okay. Guys, write the code only. I mean, that is the only way to understand whether, you know, you have, I mean, you're understanding anything or not. Else, you're not going to learn anything. So try to write as much code as possible. That is the only way to learn. Guys, please paste your answers so that we can move to the next question. Okay, Kavya has pasted. So Kavya, just one point in Python, indentation is very important. So if you are, I mean, okay, if possible, in Python. So okay, so in this while loop, what you are doing, this password. First, what you need to do, you need to take a variable which is empty. After that, okay, you are checking whether it is Python 123 or not, and then again you are checking if password is equal to Python 123. Just one point. If the value of this variable password is not Python 123, it will never come out of this loop, right? So you don't need to make another check. If it is reaching to this point, it means the value of this variable is already Python 123. Okay, so you don't need to make this check again. And one more point: try to keep one variable as password outside this while loop so that you can use it in the whole code. Okay. Okay, you already have no issues. Okay, guys, so you can see the solution. that Kavya has pasted. So what she's doing, just taking the variable password, and this string is empty, and then she has taken this while loop, and inside this while loop, what she's doing, checking whether this password variable is equal to Python 123 or not. Okay, and then if it is not equal to, again it will take an input from the user, right? So and again check, okay, if it is equal to Python 123 or not. Again, if it is not equal to, then again it will make the check, and this loop will run until this password is not equal to Python 123. Once this value inside this variable is equal to Python 123, it will automatically comes out of this loop. And then, and since she's taking this conditional statement that if password is equal to Python, this you do not need to do, because this is this is coming out of this while loop. It means the value of password is already Python 123. Only then it is able to come out of this loop, right? So now you can directly print the statement as access granted. Okay, so this is the solution of this problem. Now let's move to the next question. So next question is, you have to loop through this list: mango, banana, apple, kiwi, cherry, and print only fruits with more than five letters. Okay, for example, if I'm taking this mango, in mango is more than, it is not more than, it is equal to 5, not more than 5. Okay, so it will not print mango. Then the next one is banana. Here we have 6 letters, so it will print banana. Now in case of apple, again we have only 5 letters, so apple will not be printed. Same with kiwi. And then in case of cherry, since it is of 6 letters, it will print cherry as well. So banana and cherry is going to be your answer. Okay, so try to loop through this list and print only those which are greater than 5 letters. Okay, start writing your solution. And you know that in case of list, you can do the indexing, right? But here you don't need to. Just write a simple for loop, and in this for loop, try to iterate one by one and check what is the length of this. If the length is equal to 5, then print that particular fruit. Okay. Okay, Arnav has pasted his answer. So what he has done, uh, created a list of all these fruits. Okay, then for I in L1, okay, if length I is greater than 5, okay, printing is pass. Okay, okay. Just take one more solution, and then we can move to the next. Guys, it's a very easy question. All you have to do, iterate through every fruit one by one. Okay, take a simple for loop and go through every fruit and check what is the length of it. If the length is greater than 5, then print the fruit, else you can just continue. Okay, you can run the solution on your ID and you can see the solution. What is the output? Okay, let's move. Okay, so this is the last question. This one. This is a single question. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to print this pattern using nested loop. So what is nested loop? Inside a loop, when you take one more loop or multiple loops inside one loop, is what nested loop is. So I'll just, I mean, just figure out what could be the logic of it. Uh, what you have to do, you have to print it in this way. Means, suppose, notebook. So try to make a pattern like this. Okay. So in the first line, you are going to have a single star. Then in the next line, you're going to have two stars. Then in the next line, you're going to have three stars. Similarly, it can increase. Like for the fourth line, you're going to have four stars. Okay. So try to write a solution which can print something similar to this pattern. Okay, and the solution, the hint is that you have to take two loops here. Okay, two loops are going to be sufficient. So with the help of two loops you can print something similar to this. So what you can do, you can take first loop and then you can take the second loop. In the first loop, suppose in the first loop the first value is going to be 1, right? So second loop, what you can do, you can run until the first loop is equal to, less than or equal to second loop, and you can print it. For example, the first loop is giving you 1, then the second loop will start from 1 and it will run till your value is less than or equal to 1. It means it is going to run only once and it will print your first this star. Okay, once this second for loop is completed, just change the line. Okay, change the line and go to the next line, and then again your first loop will start and the value will become from 1 to 2. Okay, now the first loop value, first for loop value is 2. Second will again start from 1. Since 1 is less than equal to 2, what it will do, it will again print and increase the value, and from 1 it will become 2, and again 2 is less than equal to 2. Again what will happen, it will print and um, increase the value. Since third time the value is more than the first value, like I mean value is more than this two, what it will do, it will move to the next line. Okay, similarly if you follow this step, you will be able to print this pattern. So this is the logic of this code. Try to write, I mean I hope it is not very complicated for you, but I mean just try if you are able to write it or not. Let me know if the question is not clear to you. I can explain. So is this question clear to you guys? If you have any doubt, you can ask. This is a very basic question. I mean, I would say this is one of the first question that you write once you start, involving yourself in, I won't say competitive coding, but normal that lead code or GFG coding. So patterns are something that you start with. So there are going to be multiple kind of pattern. For example, maybe they might ask you to print something in the opposite order, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and then 1. Okay. So they might ask you something like this, or maybe, in the opposite direction, for example, like here, one, and then they might ask you to write something. Okay, maybe in this way. So they can ask you to write different kind of pattern. So the question I asked you is the first pattern that you learn to write, which is nothing, just two loops, and the first loop is going till n, and the second loop is following the first loop. So it is starting from the one and going till the first loop. Okay, and printing it, and once the second loop is completed, it moves to the next line. Okay. So Arnav has pasted his answer. Anyone else? I mean, if the logic is not clear to you, you can ask. Okay, so Kavya and Arnav, since you both have pasted your answer, just a simple question. Now, suppose since we are printing this one, so what if we reverse this pattern? Like we want four stars first, then three stars, then two stars, then one star. Okay, so what do you think? What will change in the logic? So, like, suppose if I have to print like this, so what exact logic we will change? What do you think? I mean, just a hint, similar to what you have done, taking two loops. Okay. Now, with the help of, you have to just play with the loops, like how many times which loop is running. Based on that only, with the help of that, you can print different kind of pattern. So here also, it is similar to the first one, but you have to make a very small tweak in the solution, in the logic. Okay, we have to reverse the step of range. Then we will do 0. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So if you're saying you have to reverse the steps in range, so which one you are changing, the first loop or the second loop? First loop. Okay. Okay. Mm. Okay. Okay, so what you're doing, you're taking the first loop and then the second loop, similar to the previous question. I mean, previous solution, the second loop will start from 1 and it will go till I. But the first loop here, it will change. Now, instead of going one by one, like one, two, three, four, instead of incrementing, it will start decrementing. Means if we are taking a is equal to 4, okay, so it is going to be 4. Okay, the first loop is going to be 4. Then the second loop will start from 1 and it will go till 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or till the 4, it will print star. And then once this loop is completed, move to the next line. Then again, what will happen? The first loop, it will decrement from the 4, it will go to 3. Okay, and similarly for till from the first till 3, it will print again, and then again it will decrement. Okay, so this is how, I mean, the small tweak and your answer, your pattern will change. Similarly, there are going to be multiple patterns. Okay, uh, you can go through some sheets and you can practice there. So this will help you to build the logic if maybe in future you practice maybe GFG or maybe CP or whatever. This is the base. I mean, some of the first questions that will help you to build the logic. Okay. Okay. I hope we are done with this assignment. So for this assignment, I would say take a screenshot and submit the solution for this assignment. Okay, I'll ask Anna. Uh, she will collect the solution from you guys. Okay, so take a screenshot of this and submit the solution of this. So what you're expected, whether I mean whether in collage or maybe in this Jupyter notebook, try to write the solution like solution of first question. Okay, so first question and write the solution of the first question. Then similarly in the next cell, uh, write it like this and solution of the second question. Similarly, you have to give the solution of all these four questions. Okay, so you are supposed to submit this assignment. Uh, so just take a screenshot of it and I will collect from you guys. Okay, let's move to the next topic, which is function. Okay, any of you know why we use functions in programming languages? What is the use of it? Do you know why we write function? I mean, just forget about the syntax. This we write definition and maybe function name, and we pass some parameter. Just forget of everything. Just tell me why do we need functions and why do we use function? Usability without having to repeat the code for each time. So that you're also doing with the help of loops. I mean, instead of writing, if you have to print some number 100 times, instead of writing every time, you are uh, using the loops, and you are with the help of a single loop, you are repeating the same task multiple times. So why functions? Any of you? Divyansh, do you know why we use functions? Ashmeet, have you heard like this word before? Functions? Yes, Divyansh.
Ma'am, functions like print and input functions are the most commonly used in Python, so that is why they're the most important, and they're the main things in Python. They're the main keywords.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so you are taking the names of some of the functions that we use in Python. I'm asking functions in general. I mean, why do we need function? I mean, how this print or maybe some other functions are helping you?
They're the most commonly used keywords in Python. That is why they're the most important.
Okay, that I've understood. But how they are helping you? They are the most used keyword, maybe most used functions.
They help in all kinds of situations like conditional situation statements and all. That is why.
Okay. Anyone else? Would you like to add something on this? Yes, Priyanshi. Guys, start speaking instead of writing in chat. You can turn on your mic and if not comfortable, you can write in chat also. But it's better if um, you speak. So Priyanshi has written instead of writing more and long coding lines, they are used as shortcuts. How exactly, Priyanshi? So, like, suppose if I have to build a solution, and for that, I mean, no matter how much optimization I do, there are going to be 100 lines. So how this function is going to help me? Just, I mean, share whatever you know about the function. No problem. If even if you don't know, there is no issue. Kavya, would you like to explain a bit? Organize data. How is it helping us to like organize data? Okay, Kavya, no issue. Anyone else? You want to add something? Um, Arnav, would you like to add something on this? What is function? Why do we use?
Functions, we can use them to, not have to repeat entire blocks of code. Like, for example, the question where we did multiplication, we can just define the whole block to be a function and call it once needed to, print the multiplication table.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys give an example of some real world function that you think you are using? So, like, suppose you want to use ChatGPT, okay, and maybe you want to integrate ChatGPT somewhere in your solution. You're building some maybe application, and in that application, you want to give the functionality of maybe ChatGPT or maybe email services or anything else. And what will happen if functions are not there? So, what will happen? So you will have to write everything again and again from the scratch, right? And as Arnav has given the example of maybe some. So suppose we are building this calculator, and inside this calculator we have different kind of functions. So what will happen every time I have to maybe add two numbers or subtract two numbers, I will have to write the code again and again. That okay, take the input, and I'm writing that some two numbers, maybe a plus b, and then returning the value. So the whole code is being written again and again, right? Which is which can be optimized by using the functions. How exactly? So what you're doing, basically building a solution and keeping the whole solution for, I mean, building a solution, and the solution is solution belongs to a single purpose, okay, and for that purpose you're keeping the whole code inside a single module, which you can call as function, and that module can be accessed anywhere. Like, you can simply define a function and that function can be called from anywhere. So that is what the use of function basically. So if I mean, any solutions that can be used, or it can be plug in anywhere in your solution, and you don't need to write everything from the scratch. That is the use of functions. Okay, so let's see. Here at it is written as write once and use anywhere. So what we were explaining, that just write something, some solution once and use it wherever you need it. So in case of ChatGPT, suppose you want to integrate somewhere, okay, you want that, okay, whenever I do this, it should go to the ChatGPT. So you're not writing the whole code again and again, you're just simply integrating it, okay, or maybe you're calling it. So obviously there are different mediums through the API or integration. That is a different story. But in the backend, there are some functions that are doing your task. Okay, so for example, in my application, I want to integrate maybe some weather forecast related data. So I don't need to build the whole solution from the scratch. Okay, there are some solutions that are built there. I just need to integrate those solutions in my application. So that can be done through some APIs, and those APIs at the end, they are basically calling some functions which are built to do that task. I mean, you don't need to that task. You don't need to do that task again and again. Okay, so that is the use of function. So think of a function like a vending machine. So you are pressing some button, and it gives you maybe a sprite. You don't know or care how it works. I mean, what happens once you go to the vending machine and you press some buttons, right? You don't know how exactly it is working in the backend, but it will do your task, right? So you just give input and you get the output. You don't know what is happening in the background. Same with the function. There is some abstract code written there. You just use it. You are not going to write everything on your own. You are not going to build everything. Okay, you just use it. So similarly, what function is? A function is a vending machine. You build yourself. You define what goes in, like what parameters it takes and what output it gives you. Okay. So, what comes out? Design a report card function. What input does it need? What should be output? Okay, let's take this question. So, you have to suppose you have to design a function as a report card function. Okay, now tell me what input it will take and what output it is going to give us. So, in your maybe school or in your classes, you have to build this report card. When you're going to collect this report card, you give some input, and once you give the input, it gives you some result. Okay, now tell me what input it is going to take and what output you're going to get. So what do you think, what kind of parameters you are going to pass to this report card function? Is it clear to you guys? Basically, you have to create a function. I mean, you don't need to write anything, just explain me. So you have this function. This function is will take some input, and based on this input, it will produce some output. So you just explain what is the in this input and what is the output. Okay. So this is your report card generator function. Okay, it will take some input, and based on this input, it will produce some output. So what is the input and output for this function? Just explain that. Any of you, would you like to explain? So if you have a function, report card function, what is the input and output of this function? And suppose this function is being used by all of you. So what exactly you're going to give as an input so that it give you the output that is useful for you? Any of you? Divyansh? Arnav? Anvesha? Okay. Whether it is equal and output will be the whole report card altogether. Okay. So, like what Arnav has explained, that we are giving our marks and it is generating the grades. So basically, his function is different from what Divyansh has explained. He has explained that we are giving input. Input will be the details we fill in. Okay, and the output will be the whole report card altogether. So basically what is happening in Arnav's solution is that he is giving the marks, and based on this marks, it is basically assigning the grades. Okay, so for example, if it is greater than or equal to 90, we are assigning the grade as A. Then maybe if it is greater than or equal to 75, it is B, and maybe greater than or equal to 60, then it is C. So what his function is doing, his function is converting from marks to grades. Okay, now what Divyansh has given, so in this report card generator we are passing the input are details. Okay, some details related to us. For example, maybe I'm passing my name and my roll number, and based on my roll number and my name, it is generating my report card. Okay, so these are two different uh, functions doing two different tasks. Okay, so this is how, based on our requirements, the functions inputs and outputs are going to be different, right? So for the first solution, for the other solution, the input is marks and output is grade, irrespective of who the student is. It doesn't need the student personal details. But in case of Divyan solution, what is happening? It is taking the student solution as an input and generating the whole report card. Okay, so that's how your function works. So I'll just show, like, syntax wise how this whole function works. So we use this define keywords. So define creates a function, call it by name. Okay, we simply call it by name and use this braces. So in normal keywords and the function, how how you can differentiate if something is function. So you just simply write its name, and then after the name you write this braces. So for example, we as Divyansh explained, there are two functions like print function or maybe input function. So after print also you are using this braces, right? And this bracket, and after the input function, so you are using this bracket, right? So after, whenever you are calling some function or whenever you are writing defining some function, you write the name, and then after this name, the name, you have these brackets, right? So this is how you write your function. Now the next one is define function. There are few things like you are defining the function, you're calling the function. So here, when you're defining a function in Python, you use this keyword as def, defined. Okay, it is not same in other languages. In C++ and in Java, the solution is going to be different. I mean, the way you define a function or the way you call a function, it might be different. But in Python, you use this keyword define. Okay. After using this define keyword, you write the function name. For example, you are writing a function which will greet you. Okay, and now inside this function you are taking two variables. Basically you can pass any number of variables. So here we are passing two variables. The first one is name. Why we are taking this variable? Whenever we are greeting someone, we to take their name, that like hello Ruksar. Okay, so if it is greeting to Ruksar, then it needs the name. So, and here the second variable is this greeting is equal to hello. Now here you might ask that why we have this equal to hello. It means we are giving a default value. Means if I'm calling this function from somewhere and I am not passing this greeting, so by default it will pass hello inside this greeting variable. Okay, since here in the name variable we are not giving any default value, so this is a must uh, parameter. Okay, so whenever you are calling this function, it is must to pass this name variable. Okay, this name function, sorry, in this name parameter. But this greeting is optional because it already have here it already has this default value which is hello. So even if you don't pass any greeting, it will by default print hello. But if you are passing some greetings, what it will do, just overwrite this. Okay, so for example, here if I call this function as greet Arjun, so what will happen, this Arjun is, since this name is your compulsory. Okay, this is not optional, this parameter is compulsory. So this Arjun will go inside this name. It follows the order. The first is, so it will go inside this name. So name is Arjun, and we are not passing anything inside this greeting, right? So what will happen? It will just simply print as greeting, which is hello, and Arjun, hello Arjun. Now the next one is greet Priya, and we are passing both the parameters. The first one is name and the second one is greeting. So it, this one will print Namaste Priya. Okay, so this is how you define a function, and wherever you need this function, you want to utilize this function, you can simply call this function. And one more point, the order is maintained, means it is ordered. It means the Priya, I mean the name should go before the greeting. So it should not like you're passing namaste first and priya second. What will happen if you're writing namaste first? This namaste will go inside this name and this priya will go inside this greeting. Okay, so always remember that it maintain the order. So whatever order, in whatever order you have written the parameters, it will go to those parameter only. And if you have already given some default value, you may or may not pass the value. But if you have not given any default value, the that parameter is must. Okay, you should pass something inside that parameter. Now the next one is, for example, if I want to print the square of some number, so I can have a function for that. So for example, here I have created this function define and then function name, and then inside this function I'm taking this n parameter, and then what I'm returning, return n into n, means whatever value it is coming inside this function, or whatever parameter is coming, I'm just returning multiplication of that, I'm just square of that. Okay, so for example, here if I try to call this function. Okay, so here I'm calling this function and passing the value of n as 7. What will happen, this 7 will go and then it will perform 7 into 7, 7 into 7, which will become 49, and it will return 49. Okay, this 49 will return. And here what we are doing, whatever value it is returning, we are capturing or catching that value inside this return variable, and then this return variable is being printed here. Okay, now suppose you have, I mean, you don't know how many number of arguments you're going to pass. Okay, so in that case what you can do, you can simply use this star keyword and then your argument your parameter name. So what will happen, it will create uh, I mean, the length is not going to be fixed. In this case, it will create an array basically, and it will be able to handle everything. You don't need to define at the time of creation of this function, like how many parameters are going to come inside this. You can simply use this star keyword, and this will understand that this nums parameter is not fixed size. Okay, this is dynamic. So now what will happen, look, suppose you want to add multiple numbers, you want to write a function which can add maybe multiple numbers. Now you don't know how many numbers are going to come, so you can simply write it like this, star and then parameter name, and then whenever you are calling this, you can pass any number of values. Okay, so this all these values will go inside this nums, and you can simply, here I'm using this sum function, and this sum function is basically adding everything that has come inside this parameter and returning it. Okay, now the next one is this assignment. Okay, I'll discuss only the first question. First, just take a screenshot of this, and along with the fifth assignment, submit the solution of this sixth one also. Just take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this assignment and this one, and share the solutions with Anna. Okay, okay, I cannot paste the picture inside the chat. Okay, no problem, you just take the screenshot. Okay, okay, let's discuss the logic of this first question, and then for the remaining questions you can submit. So how you are going to, basically you have to write a function which will help you to figure out whether a number is even or not. So that returns true. If the number is even, the function will return true, else it will return false. So for example, if I'm passing 2 to this function, okay, if I'm passing 2, it will return 2 true. And suppose if I'm passing 5, it will return false. Okay, so you have to write a function that can take an input. As for example, we are passing a parameter to this. So for example, n, and this n will be your you have to check whether this is positive or whether this is even or odd. So you just write the logic for that, and if it is even, you're returning even, and if it is, sorry, if it is even, you're returning true, else you're returning false. I hope you guys have taken the screenshot. Okay, Arnav, just explain the solution, what you have done exactly.
Ma'am, first we take the input as n equal to int input, enter a number. Then
Hmm.
we define the function is even and n as an argument. And then if n modulo 2, as in if the remainder of uh, n when divided by 2 is equal to 0, print true, else it print false, and then we call the function.
Okay, so you have printed true and false, right? So instead of that, you can return also. You can return true or return false. Okay. So, so for example, if as somewhere you want to use this as your solution, so instead of printing, you can simply return the output. Okay. I hope it is clear to you all. Okay, I think we can conclude today's session now. You can submit this assignment. Uh, okay, so today is Monday, Wednesday. Okay, so you can submit it before, like, I mean, before the next session. Okay. Okay, I think we can end the today's class. Thank you, guys.